Hello my lovelies, and welcome to this free tutorial that I have for you today. We are going to make an amazing scrap buster project. It's super quick, super easy. This is all the fabric that you need. A beautiful scrap buster for your favorite custom prints, and not only. We're going to be making fabric holder, gift card holder that has two pockets, so you can use both, you can use just one. You can suggest that you receive both filled with a gift card. I'm joking. The actual PDF pattern, I will link it in the comments here. It's a pattern that I've drafted for you guys. It's free. I'll link access to it down in the comments. It has three pattern pieces. It has one main pattern piece. For this you need woven, or you can use cotton lycra, because either way this pattern piece will be interfaced with woven interfacing. And you have your two pockets. You have pocket 1 and pocket 2 with a different funky shape, something to stand apart from the rest of them. This is for this part you need to use woven. I wouldn't recommend using cotton lycra interfacing it, because then your seams will be huge. It will be way too thick and it's not gonna look so pretty. So you can go ahead and use cotton lycra like I am right now for the main. I'm using this super cute backstitch print we ran a few years back. My husband is a big Griswold's fan, so we're going to use this for the main print. Then you have your two pocket pieces. I use the same fabric for them, but the lining obviously can be done with a different fabric. No need to interface this one. Same thing for pocket 1 and pocket 2. And then you need a scrap of ribbon, whatever you have laying around, about 10-11 inches. You also need one grommet, at least 4 millimeters, anything that would fit your ribbon going through it. Or you can just use your machine to do a simple buttonhole. You don't need to go ahead and spend money to invest in grommets for this single project. A buttonhole is free and you can do it on most sewing machines. Print your pattern, cut your pieces, interface the back with woven interfacing of both pieces of the contrasting fabric, the main piece. I love woven fuse. This is from Got Interfacing. Barbara Edwards runs also an amazing Facebook group that I'm gonna link in the comments too. This is her woven fuse that I'm using on the back. Print your pattern pieces, cut your fabric, interface the two main pieces, and then before you start sewing, mark your buttonhole or grommet piece marking. I put this on the pattern so it's easier to see. So my grommet will go about here. If you're using friction pens like I am, just remember that once you iron this piece, it will disappear. So if you iron it before you mark your hole, this will disappear. Try to remember that. Alright, so let's get started sewing. I promise you this project is not gonna take more than 10 minutes. Let's get to it. Before we start sewing this quick project, go ahead right now and turn on your iron, put your steam on, turn into a cotton setting, and have it there ready for you, because you do want to press throughout your project. Let's start with pocket piece 1, which is the curved one. Lay your pieces right sides together, and we're just going to sew the top curve with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to be using white thread. This way you get to see how it looks. This is pocket piece 1 sewn. Flip, so the right sides are on the outside. You can go ahead and trim your seam allowance if you'd like, to make it easier to flip, because I put a 1/2 inch seam allowance on this pattern just to make it easier for sewing machine sewing. But you can definitely trim it to 1/4 inch and give it a good press. This is how your pocket will look like. If your front and back are different, make sure that the smaller part is towards your left hand and the bigger part towards your right, and top stitch the curve. I like to top stitch at about 1/8 inch seam allowance. And remove the excess corners. Your top pocket is now ready. You can give it a press and set it aside. Let's work on the second pocket. Again, with your main fabric out, place your lining on top of it, right sides together, and we're going to sew the same thing, this time a straight line at the top. We're going to do this straight line with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Always back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And again, if you would like, you can trim off your seam allowance. And I do realize now that I have brown in my bobbin thread from a different project that I've done before. No big deal. There's plenty of brown in the main print, so it doesn't bother me. This is how your pocket will be laying. So this will be your main fabric. On the right hand you have the shorter end, and on the left side you have the longer end. Top stitch and press. Beautiful. Now you're going to decide which one will be the back, that you'll see the whole image, and which one will be the front, that you'll see just mainly the top part. So I cut my fabric, I fussy cut it so this part is visible, because the bottom will be covered by the pockets. So this is the part that will be on the front of the gift card holder, and this will be on the back. Set the back aside for now. Grab your front, and now we're going to be laying the pocket pieces. You're going to lay the pocket piece 2 like so, matching the side seams and the bottom seam. Then you're going to lay the pocket piece 1 on top of it, and you can add a couple of pins if you'd like. Again, matching the side seams, and there you have it. This one has a slight curve and this is straight, just for a je ne sais quoi. You want to go ahead and baste around the pocket. I just didn't want 2 symmetrical pieces, so I made the top part with a curve and a little shorter. I made the bottom part with a straight line and a little taller. I just didn't want exact pattern pieces mirrored. I'm basting around just to make sure all the layers stay in place. This is how it looks like basted. So now your pockets are attached. Last step, you're going to lay your main piece right side down, matching all raw edges. You can definitely put a couple of pins or clips around. And you want to start sewing right here. Sew all around, come back 1/2 inch, and then stop and leave your opening so you can turn your holder through the bottom opening. So again, you're going to sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm sewing and back stitching at the beginning and the end. And I'm sewing around, leaving an opening at the bottom. The bottom, if you leave the opening at the bottom, is going to be a lot easier to top stitch than if you were to leave it on the sides where you have extra layers from the pockets and uneven layers, or at the top where you have a curve. You definitely don't want to leave the opening at the top. And at the curve, just make sure you go slow to keep a constant seam allowance. How easy this is? It hasn't even been 7 minutes of sewing. So what you want to do right now, in this case, because there is a lot of bulk, oh look, it's brown on this side, so you get to see the stitching better. So I started here, pivot, up, circle, down, pivot in the words of Ross, and then back here. So this is my opening. You want to trim the corners as close as you can get them to the stitching without cutting it. This will make your corners look nice and crisp. And you want to reduce the bulk of your seam allowance to 1/4 inch on the sides and on the top. Leave the bottom as is because it will be easier to top stitch the bottom close with a larger seam allowance. Okay, this is how it looks like trimmed. And now we're going to turn it. Grab your turning tool if you have any like boning tools to get crisp corners. And I'm sliding my hands inside, turning it. And pushing out the corners. You want to push out the corners to make sure they're as crisp as possible. You need to give it a good press and top stitch it. Just remember, if you do press it, I can see here that I have my marking for the grommet. I have it right here. If I go ahead and press it right now, it will disappear because the friction pen will disappear. So I'll go ahead and top stitch it now and press it and put a marking with like a permanent. Oh, I'm so happy with my fussy cut. I am so happy with my fussy cut. The holder is now pressed. I slide the raw edge inside and I'm going to go ahead and top stitch it. Such a cute scrap buster. You know, we all hang on to our favorite prints, the tiniest of scraps we hang on to. So this is a great project to put them in use. This project is also part of the big Backstitch Backroom Christmas in July event that I'm hosting in the Backstitch Backroom on Facebook. Link to everything will be, of course, in the description. This is part of a mini sew-along that's 3 days. Everyone that completes this project within 3 days will be entered in a drawing for a huge prize at the end, if they, of course, complete all other projects. Details will be in the group. But if you're just completing this project, you will also be eligible for a drawing of a fantastic prize. So now we have to add a buttonhole right here where we put the marking, or a grommet. I'm going to add a grommet because I prefer the look, but you can definitely do a buttonhole with your sewing machine. Let's add the grommets. I'm using my table press. This is an off-brand table press, but I'm very happy with it. I got it on Amazon, and I'm going to link, as always, everything in the description. I put my 6mm or 8. I think this is 8, but that's the one I have right now. I have a 6mm on the way, but I put my 8mm die for punch holing. You can do this if you have the equipment. You don't have to invest in this if you don't have the press. You can add grommets with a hand press. I have this awesome hand punching tool that's super good. It does a great job, and it was like $10 on Amazon. So if you don't have a hand table press, don't stress about it. If you want to treat yourself and you can do it, it's worth it. If not, there are plenty of other non-expensive options there. I have also some dies. I will make a separate video for that. Punch holing with a hammer. Many inexpensive options that you can take that can help you. I'm going to punch this hole for the die. For the grommet, I mean. They are meant for vinyl and leather. They're not meant for cotton lycra, but they work. So this is the hole, and let me grab my grommet bag. These are actually grommets that came with this. They're like more for curtains. There's some huge. I am going to use, oops, I think I put them in a box. A medium grommet. This is, I want to say 1/2 inch, maybe less. An 8mm grommet. So I'm sliding the grommet piece on the front and then putting the backing. And now I need to add my grommet die to the and it looks something like this. You need a different die for rivets, for grommets, for punching, for snaps. They all have different dies. Luckily, they all have the same screw. Most of them, at least the ones that I got, even off-brand ones, have the same screw, so they're all compatible with this. Yeah, I was going in the wrong direction. Obviously, it wasn't tightening up. Alright, so place your grommet here and press. And that's it. Your project is now done. All you have left to do is slide your ribbon through it. What I like to do, I like to sew it down a little bit, overlapping maybe 1/4 of an inch. or you can tie it in a knot, whatever you want. You just need to slide a ribbon there, but I'll show you how I do mine. I won't judge you if you have a preferred method of doing this. There you go, and I like to press it like so, slide it through the grommet. Obviously, the thicker the ribbon you're using, actually I want it from the other end. The thicker the grommet you're using, the thicker the ribbon, the larger the grommet you need to do. And there you have it. Beautiful, right? I went and got 2 cards to show you the finished project. So this is how it looks like. Super, super cute. So there's 2 slots. You can use it just the one and have it like a fun design. You can put 2 cards if you want. This go beautiful on the Christmas tree or anywhere you want, or on a tag, on a actual package as a tag. Very versatile, and you can use your favorite fabric for it. I plan to make a few of these in some Disney fabric for my Disney tree on Christmas. But I hope you enjoyed this project, and I can't wait to see your very own gift card, fabric gift card holder. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!